Nearly 50 heads of African states are in our nation's capital for a leaders summit. Political analysts say the White House is hosting this event for many reasons, but also to offset some of China's and Russia's influence on the continent.
Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp joins us live with more on this tonight. Good evening, Rachel.
And good evening, Mike and Eva. Political analysts say that Washington really hasn't focused on the continent and it's really kind of taken a backseat. And so they believe that the White House is using this as an opportunity to kind of re-energize some of these relationships. Now, analysts say it's an important event for a couple of reasons, one of which is security reasons. Now, over the past years and in some cases decades, there have been coups or attempted coups which destabilize countries and regions. And analysts say the U.S. wants to make sure that there is an internal peace within these countries for stability purposes. Now, the U.S. also hopes that these nations will take a more active role in Russia's invasion in Ukraine. Many African states rely on food from Ukraine and hope by getting them more involved, it can help reduce food insecurity due to the war. But analysts say there is also a big elephant, rather two big elephants in the room, China and Russia. These countries are trying to almost court these African nations by making investments in the continent. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has described this in the past as troubling for the U.S. He has said that China continues to expand their footprint in Africa. Here's George Washington University's Director of Political Management to explain more on this.
China has made a lot of inroads with a number of African countries, both in terms of security arrangements and development. And that development is actually a threat to the United States because that takes away a little bit of our high level of, freedom and democracy and the types of affiliations that these countries have with us and how they see us in the world.
Now, analysts say that reestablishing our relationships is a huge goal for the summit, but also many of these African nations are looking to get something else out of these meetings too. They have discussed about having a seat at the table, getting more of a say in world affairs. South Africa right now is part of the G20, but that's just one nation of the nearly 50 in the continent. And so there's a push to get an additional seat on the G20 to essentially make it the G21 by adding the African Union to that influential group, something that the president says that he does support. Now, this is the last day of the summit, and certainly hosting this many heads of state is no easy feat. Mike, Eva, back to you.